All right. So with us today, we have Gillis Owen, who's from Prudential. Prudential administers our 457 deferred comp retirement benefit, and he's here to give us a little insight into that and, in general, talk about the benefit. So go ahead and take it away, Gillis.
Yeah, thanks, Clark, and thanks for allowing us to do these for you guys there this week. We do appreciate it. And I am going to start with a couple of questions. I know you guys are on mute right now, but you can actually just put like a little answer there in that chat function, or even at the top, there's that little thumbs up icon too as well. But looking on here, how many of you guys have actually already started saving for retirement? How many is already saving for retirement? All right, let's see a few hands. And most of you guys, I should say, should have a thumbs up or the hands up there, because whether you know it or not, a lot of you are already in the pension there with the state. So another question, who here started saving too early for retirement? Who started saving too early for retirement? Nobody, right? All right, who here saved too much for retirement? Anybody saved too much yet for retirement? Right, okay. Here's one. How many of you guys have gone on at least a 1 week vacation before? A 1 week vacation. I'd say probably most of us. I know hunting season's coming up, so I'm getting ready for some vacation as well. But I bet no one on that first day of their vacation got up, got out of bed, maybe got in the car and said, okay, where are we going? Right? You had a plan. You knew where you're going to go, how you're going to get there, where you're going to stay once you were there. You probably had all of those stops, the pit stops planned out like my wife does for the kids. So it's something where you have a plan. And statistics show people actually spend more time planning a 1 week vacation than they do planning for their retirement, which the retirement can last 10, 15, 20, even 30 years, right? So that's kind of crazy. So that's where we come in. So as Clark mentioned, my name's Gillis Owen. I'm one of the Prudential retirement counselors. Just going to share my screen. I put a little link there in the website. I'm not sure if all of you can see it because I think I threw it up before some of you were on the call here. But we are here to help you guys. We're a free resource for you. So the website is the vermont.retirepru.com website. And you can see there's 4 of us counselors that cover the state for you guys. And think of us as a free resource, kind of like a financial advisor, except versus a financial advisor, even though we do have all of our security licenses, we're not working for a commission. So again, free resource for you guys. So definitely utilize us, lean on us. Looking at us, we're again not working for a commission, so it's something where when we're having a conversation, you don't have to worry about us trying to sell you some Prudential life insurance, right? So we're more here for an educational purposes to help you understand basically kind of how this deferred compensation plan works, with regards to the pension, a lot of different financial planning tools that we have access to can help you out with. Again, a free resource for you guys, so definitely utilize us. You can see here we basically have the state broken out into different counties, and we actually base these off the counties that you work out of or the office that you work out of or used to work out of, depending on if you're still virtual. But anytime you guys can come to this website, you can actually click on the schedule an appointment, and it literally brings up our calendar, and you just pick a day and time that works for you guys. And again, these are free consultations or free help for you guys. Again, something where definitely utilize us. We're here to help you as much as we can. Now, as Clark mentioned, our focus is on what they refer to as a supplemental retirement plans, right? And so this is in supplement to the pension. I'd say most of you on this call, depending on your position, you were automatically enrolled into the pension, right? A pension as a benefit is very sweet, right? It's going to be a fixed amount for the rest of your life, right? You're never going to outlive it. Pensions are something you don't see very often with employers very often anymore. They are very costly plans, something for you guys to have as a benefit, very lucky to have. Again, that fixed benefit for the rest of your life, people are living longer these days. So to kind of have that as a benefit, it's awesome, but it's kind of out of your control, right? So the only thing you can really control with that pension is your years of service, right? You had no say over not whether you wanted to participate, you were automatically enrolled. Certain amount coming out of your pay going into that pension, right? You have no say over, you can't adjust that. Looking at the pension too, there is what they call a 5-year vesting period with that pension, because basically there's a certain amount that you're putting in each pay period, a certain amount that the state's putting in there for you. Kind of think of that like their employer match. And basically, if you leave the state within your first 5 years of hire, you're only eligible for what you put into the pension, not what the state has put in. After that 5 years is up, you're what they call fully vested. So basically, whatever in that pension account is yours. In addition to the pension is this 457B deferred compensation plan. Optional type of account, something you can open up at any time. I know this is open enrollment week, but you don't have to wait for open enrollment. You can literally open up that deferred comp plan at any time. What's nice about it is something more in your hands, right? So you can set it up at any time. It's a 457B, kind of think of it like a 401k. And there's basically different numbers for different types of retirement accounts for different types of employer plans. So 401ks are through private companies, 403Bs, so like schools, hospitals, nonprofit organizations. Because the state's a government entity, it's a 457B. I'd say probably one perk to a 457B versus a lot of other retirement accounts is usually with a lot of retirement accounts, if you take money out prior to age 59 and a half, usually there's a 10% penalty on that amount. That doesn't apply to the contributions that go into a 457B. Just think about, for instance, like some public safety officials, state troopers. A lot of times they're retiring early 50s, some of them mandatory age 55. This is the type of account from once they stop working with the state, regardless of their age, they can access the funds with no penalty. So I'd say that's kind of one unique thing about the 457B. But again, something in addition to the pension, right, totally optional account, you have the full flexibility over it. You can pick a certain dollar amount per pay period, or you could do a percentage of your pay, change that amount at any time, start and stop it at any time. Also, too, the contributions going in can go a couple different ways. So you can do pre-tax contributions, which most retirement plans kind of default to. You can do Roth, or just think of after-tax contributions, or a combination of the two. I'd say they both kind of have their benefits. So what's nice about a pre-tax contribution, whatever you put into the account pre-tax, dollar for dollar, lowers your taxable income by that amount. So for instance, you're making $45,000 for the year. You put $5,000 into here pre-tax, your taxable income for the year is down to $40,000. Right, so dollar for dollar, whatever you put in pre-tax lowers your taxable income by that amount. Also, too, what's nice about pre-tax is it's not a set dollar for dollar out of your actual net pay because it's going in prior to any federal and state tax withholding coming out of it. So for instance, let's say you set up the account and you're doing $50 pre-tax each pay period. Even though it shows $50 going into the account each pay period, out of your actual net pay, probably only like $35 difference because it's going in prior to any federal and state tax withholding coming out of there. Does that make sense? That amount, gross tax deferred. When you go to take that money out of the account, that's when it's going to be seen as taxable income for you at that point. Where I'll say some people are sometimes under the notion that, you know what, maybe in retirement, if I have less income coming in, maybe I'll be at a lower tax bracket. Maybe I'd just rather pay the taxes then at that lower tax bracket than pay it now. Where the Roth, and when I say Roth, just think of after tax, right? The benefit there is that amount, let's say you set it up and you're doing $50 Roth each pay period. That $50 would be that full $50 out of your net pay, right? Because that money's getting taxed now. But the benefit there is that amount and that amount's earnings are all tax-free for you when you go to take it out. So for instance, let's say over the life of the account, you put in $50,000 Roth, and that $50,000 grows to $80,000. You go to start taking out that $80,000. You're basically getting $30,000 tax-free. You see the advantage there? Now, I'd say there's no right or wrong way to do it. You can even do a combination of the two to kind of hedge your bet that way, because really at the end of the day, it comes down to your current taxable income versus these applicable tax rates versus when you go to take your money out, your taxable income at that point, and then those applicable tax rates. And obviously not knowing what that's going to look like, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Just know what's nice is you're never locked into anything. You can always change the amount, that contribution type at any time. You know, sometimes maybe you find coming year end for a tax situation, you want to do more pre-tax, or like, you know what, I think the tax rates are going to go up. Maybe you should either pay the tax now and not have to worry about it. So just kind of keep in mind, you're never locked into anything and you can always adjust it at any time. So then the contributions, the money goes into the account. Then there's the different investment options. I'd say this is where people really kind of get intimidated with retirement accounts. And Prudential, we have a tool, it's called Goal Maker, really just to help simplify the investment piece of it for you. It's just a free tool. It basically breaks it down to two things it looks at. One is how aggressive you want to be, and there's three options: conservative, moderate, or aggressive. And then the second piece it looks at is when you're looking to retire, right? Because that time frame piece is pretty important with investing, right? The longer we have, the more aggressive we can be to kind of make up for those pullbacks. Where as we get closer to retirement age, we kind of want to preserve that nest egg we built up over the years, right? So it's something where you basically pick that conservative, moderate, aggressive, something you can change up at any time. Looking at that retirement age, what it's going to do is basically come up with that mixture as far as the different stock and bonds funds go. It's going to rebalance on a quarterly basis to keep you on track that way. So you don't have to worry about what the markets are doing. Should I go rebalance now? It's automatically doing that for you. And also, too, it'll take it one step further and also just get more conservative for you as you get closer to that retirement age. So it's something where you can kind of set it and forget it type of thing, or you can go in and change it from moderate to aggressive or conservative to at any point. So again, something that kind of gives you a little bit more hands-on approach, or you can kind of just have it automated. That way you don't have to worry about it. And then I would say a lot of people too are under the impression, I know when the accounts came over from Empower a couple of years ago, a lot of people were doing that managed account option, which is kind of similar to that Goal Maker. So they think the account's automatically already doing that for them. And I would urge you just to reach out to me or one of the other counselors there, and we'll just take a look at your account and take a look to kind of see how those investments are set up, to kind of see if we can help you with any adjustments there. Again, we're a free resource for you guys, so definitely keep us in mind for sure. I would say too, just kind of looking at this account though, I would say no, it's not a very liquid account, right? And so what I mean by that is there's no loan option. Sometimes like 401k, sometimes retirement plans is like a loan option on there. That's not the case with this deferred compensation plan. Basically, while you're an active employee, you can contribute to the account, can't really take any money out. I mean, they do have what they call a hardship withdrawal, but it's going to be something serious like unforeseen medical expenses, flood damage to a home. At that point, in that case, obviously, you could take the money out and use it for, let's say, the flood damage in there. But basically, while you're an active employee, it's pretty restrictive, can contribute, can't really take any money out. Once you stop working for the state, at that point, you can access the funds. And then again, regardless of age, there's no penalty because it's that 457B account. And it's one where too, looking at this account, you can access rollover money into the account. And so what I mean by that is if you have any like old 401ks or old retirement accounts through other employers, it's something where you could take those accounts, consolidate those here in the deferred compensation plan, because that's something you couldn't do with the pension, but you could take those old retirement accounts, traditional IRAs, you could take those, consolidate those here in the deferred compensation plan. With the deferred comp plan, there's no vesting period either, because it's just your contributions going in. There's no employer money coming in here. You're fully vested all the time. So let's say you open up the account a few months later, you go work somewhere else. Likewise, you just take this account and just take it with you and keep it going, roll it over to your new employer's retirement plan, and just kind of keep it going with you that way. So it's a very portable account in that regard. You're looking at the account, see people utilize it, a few different ways. One is something where a lot of people kind of going back to, maybe retiring in their early 50s, someone who gets done with the state, maybe they start drawing from their pension at that point, and they have this deferred compensation plan in place. And then because looking at Social Security, Social Security, we're not eligible until age 62. Right? So kind of how do we bridge that gap? And that's where this deferred compensation plan would come in. Because the deferred compensation plan, what's nice about this account, once you stop working for the state, at that point, as long as there's a balance in this deferred compensation plan, the amount that you take out and the frequency is really up to you. So it's something where you could set up like a monthly amount coming out of the account, you could change that monthly amount, take a chunk out while you're taking that monthly amount, start and stop at any time. So really, as long as you have a balance in this account, the amount that you take out and the frequency is really up to you. Also, too, I've seen people utilize the account to purchase what they call airtime. Basically, if you have worked for the state for at least 25 years, you can use the funds inside your deferred compensation plan or other retirement accounts at that point too. You can actually use that to buy from 1 day up to that. Say you had to max out the pension at the 30 years. You could use the funds inside the deferred compensation plan to buy out that time to try to maximize that pension that way as too. So it's kind of another idea, another way to utilize that account. And even too, sometimes before you go to retire, people have vacation time or a lot of leave time accrued, is something where they could take that vacation time, because instead of getting that paid out to them, because it could be, if they have a lot of hours, could be seen as a lot of taxable income, they could put some of that or all of that inside the deferred compensation plan. That way it's not paid out and seen as taxable income, because if it is a lot, maybe it bumps them up a tax bracket, but it's kind of another little way to utilize that deferred comp plan. And kind of going into that, the contributions, there are limits on this account, right? So being a retirement account, you could put up to $19,500 into the account for the calendar year. Once you age 50 or over, they have what they call a catch-up contribution. So you could put up to $26,000 into the account each year. And those, the $19,500 and the $26,000 contribution limit, that can be pre-tax, Roth, or a combination of the two. We just can't go over those dollar limits. And then one step further too, being a 457B account, another unique thing is what they call a special 3-year catch-up. And basically your last 3 years prior to your retirement year, you could actually double that $19,500 up to $39,000. So a lot of room for capacity inside of the account here. And I can see kind of what has been going on. There's been a lot of questions coming in, Clark. And I'm not sure if we want to kind of run down through the questions or kind of like open it up to a Q&A. What you think would be easiest there?
Let's run through some of the questions first, and then we can open it up. I think you've actually touched on some of these as you've gone along. But for example, someone asked if there was a Roth 457 Roth option, and I believe you've already answered that.
Okay. I'm just going to scroll up to the top here.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like so Kimberly asked what type of tool. I'm guessing it was the Goal Maker tool that I was referring to, the free investment tool. So when you're logged into the account, if you're on the phone on your app, there's a little spot where it says Manage Investments, or it's going to be on the left-hand side of your screen if you're on a computer. And then after that next screen, there's a button that says Get Help with Goal Maker, and it's right on there. And again, if you have trouble finding it, reach out to us. We can help walk you through it as well. The Roth option, we covered that. Is there an app on the website? Yeah, so it's kind of, on the website it says enroll here in the plan. There's a little link. It's kind of misleading, I would say. There is an application, but we do have a little online enrollment tool we can use as well. It takes like 2 minutes to set up. And that's where I would say reach out to one of the counselors, and we can kind of help. We can get you set up with it really fast, but also to kind of go through any of the questions and things you might have when you're setting up the account, kind of going back between the pre-tax and the Roth, maybe what makes sense for you situation. That's where I'd say reach out to one of us counselors. We'll kind of help make it all make sense for you and then get it up and going for you guys. Go make your kind of roll a simple IRA into the 457B, and you can. Yes, you can. The only account type that can't be rolled into the deferred comp plan is a Roth IRA. But a traditional IRA, a rollover IRA, simple IRA, SEP IRA, 401k, all the other types of retirement plans can be consolidated into this deferred compensation plan. And thanks, Clark, for including the links and things in there. Appreciate that. Yeah, for 2022, it sounds like there may be an increase on the contribution limit. We haven't confirmed that yet, but currently it's $19,500, and that can be the pre-tax, Roth, or a combination of the two. And for age 50 or over, it's $26,000. And again, pre-tax, Roth, or a combination of the two. And we'll kind of keep you posted if it does change. I would say if it does change, I want to say the rumors are maybe increasing that $19,500 up to the $20,000, and then keeping it the same for the $26,000 at the age 50 and over. But again, we will let you guys know if that does change. Fees associated with rolling over the 401k. Good question. So say rolling over the account, usually maybe there's like a $25 or $50 fee, maybe the other provider charges, when they close out the account for you. But a rollover is seen as a non-taxable event, right? So as long as you keep it in a type of retirement account like this, it's a non-taxable event. And it's something where we can help work with you do the rollover as well. It's something we have a rollover form. We usually get a copy of that statement. And what we usually do too is just reach out to the current provider to kind of see what do they need. Because some places like a Fidelity, we can literally call up, do right over the phone. Some places require their own transfer paperwork. Like TIA, we can do right online on the account. But again, that's where we come in to help you guys out. We can help make sure it all goes seamless for you and get it all processed for you. But yeah, no fee. But speaking of fees, though, how the fees work with this deferred compensation plan is Prudential charges a percentage of the assets in the account. and it's 0.035% of the assets in the account. So think about 35 cents for every $1,000. So it's very minimal. That's an annual amount, but Prudential just takes it out on a quarterly basis. So I would say looking at the fees, and I'd say there's something too when we talk about maybe rolling over another account, is kind of taking a look at the fees inside of that account as well, just to kind of see if it makes sense to consolidate or not. But it's something where the fees inside of this plan, because think of like buying in bulk, right? The sheer size of this plan is literally hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Which are why the fees are so small. So compared to a lot of other retirement plans that aren't as large, right? Usually the fees are higher. And so that's where I would say 9 times out of 10, it makes sense to consolidate it right here inside this deferred compensation plan. Contributions, Roth subject to minimum distribution requirements. Yeah, so good question. So with the 457B, so I mentioned that there's no penalty regardless of age. The one caveat would be with Roth earnings amount. So let's go back to that. Let's say we do some Roth contributions into the account. Let's say we put in $5,000 of that Roth. And that $5,000 of contributions grows to $6,000. Right? Let's say we're not working with the state any longer, so we have access to that $6,000. If we're below age 59 and a half, and we take out that full Roth amount, the contributions and the earnings, that earnings amount could be subject to that 10% penalty if you're not age 59 and a half. So let's kind of keep that in mind. That's one little. So let's say we have the 5,000, 1,000 of that is the earnings amount, right? That earnings amount could be subject to that 10% penalty. So $100 would be, could be subject to that penalty. So that is a good question though to keep in mind. And how Prudential is going to do it is they're going to prorate the amount. So if we take out a Roth money, because if we do have pre-tax and Roth money in the account, when we go to take the money out, you guys will have the choice. Do you want to take the pre-tax money that's going to be seen as taxable income? Do you want to take the Roth money and be tax-free for you? But again, if you are below age 59 and a half, that earnings portion could be subject to it. Because like the Roth IRA, it's kind of be the two pieces. You have to have the account open for at least 5 years for the Roth contributions, and then be at least age 59 and a half to be totally tax-free. Is the 19K max limit only to the 457B, or is that the pension and defined benefit? Yeah, so with the pension, remember, right, that's a fixed amount you can't adjust, right? So you can't ever adjust what you're putting into that pension. That's a fixed amount. Inside the 457B, it's a qualified retirement plan. So like a 401k, 403b, 457b, that's where the contribution limits come into play. So it's 19,500 or 50 or over is 26,000. How do I roll over accounts elsewhere? Yeah, definitely reach out to one of the counselors. We can help walk you guys through that. Is there a brokerage option within the 457? So there is, but it's something, John, where it does have to be a certain dollar amount in the account. And I believe it's at least $5,000 in the account, and then you can open up a self-directed brokerage account. But at that point, not as familiar with that piece because it would be subject to different fees and things, especially if you start playing with different securities in there. They would be subject to, for instance, if you picked a mutual fund, you could be in an A shares or different loads and things that go with those sales charges on those mutual funds. So I'd say there is a self-directed brokerage option. Doesn't get utilized very often, but it is out there. But it's something too Prudential we can kind of help walk you through getting set up if you wanted to. But we are, there's about 25 different mutual funds and ETFs to choose from. So, I mean, we do have all the different asset classes, covered there. Something too, you can always go in and change those investments up at any time. That's what's kind of nice about this account. It's one that you have more flexibility. I think that's all of the questions in the chat. Claire, here, go ahead.
Oh, another one just came in, but I just wanted to offer a real quick clarification too with a question that Ashley asked, and I think you answered this, but just to be clear, the amount that you currently contribute to your pension is not it's not related to the amount that you put into the 457. Correct. So whatever you're putting into the pension does not limit what you can put into the 457.
Yes, exactly. And just like Carmel just brought up too, does it include what you put the IRA? No, because they're seeing, you look at the different account types, right? So you could put up to the 19,500 into this 457B. If you have a traditional IRA, you could put the 6,000 into that traditional IRA because they're seen as different account types, right? So even too, then if you have a Roth IRA, you could put 6,000 into there. So they'd be subject to those different accounts, but it's not accumulative between it. Although if you did have like 3 different traditional IRAs, that 6,000 you could put across 3, or you could just put into 1 or 2 of them. But if it looks at the account type, does that make sense? So if you have a traditional IRA, you could put 6,000 in there, whether it's one traditional IRA or multiple, but still capped at that 6,000. Inside this 457B, 19,500. But again, that could be pre-tax, Roth, or a combination of the two. So that's what I say. A lot of times, if you aren't maxing out, or if you're maxing out the IRA, definitely could utilize more funds in here, or even you have a lot of capacity in here. So sometimes, depending on what that IRA is held, looking at the fees and things associated with that account, maybe it makes sense to contribute here instead. But again, conversation we can kind of look at together, kind of see what makes the most sense for you guys too. And again, we can't give you advice, tell you what to do, but at the same time, we can kind of help educate you, kind of help you understand the different pieces to kind of see what makes sense in your situation for sure.
All right. Well, this is, if anyone else has any questions, feel free to throw them in chat, or if you've been waiting to ask in person, feel free to unmute yourself and ask that way as well.
Hi, quick question. If I'm looking to find out the value of my pension for paperwork purposes, is that something I connect with my representative here for, or is there someone else that would address that?
That you would go directly to the retirement division for that. So
Okay.
for the pension, and actually you should be getting I believe it's every year you get a pension statement. So it actually says your statement, and it will give you the information that you need to. Oh, there you go. And there's even a link.
Yeah, just the link in there.
Yeah. So you should be getting a statement annually, or you can go to that link that Gillis just put up, and you can find it there.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is that link I just sent you guys here. It's on the Treasurer's website.
Thank you, Gillis.
No problem.
And there was another question that came in.
I'm gonna get some financial advice from someone. Yeah, I would say again, we're a free resource, so definitely reach out to us. Kind of have the conversation, because I would say we can help you guys quite a ways. But it's something where if you're like, what, Gillis, I really want a financial advisor, I would say the best thing is reach out to family or friends to see if they work with a financial advisor. Maybe just kind of get some instant credibility there. Obviously sometimes Wall Street or the financial industry gets a bad rep for different things. But it's something where I would say if you do have friends or family utilizing someone, kind of use that, to get some credibility, the trust factor there. But again, lean on to us. We can help you for, I'd say quite a bit of the things you're probably looking for to help try to understand. But again, then from there, I would say, yeah, you could Google different financial advisors in the area. There's quite a few here just in Vermont alone. But it's something where, again, I would say maybe, reach out to us first and then kind of, see what you can get from us. And then kind of, after that, refer to family and friends kind of for that, who they're using.
All right. Well, with that does bring us to 12:29, but close enough. Brings us to the end of the session. Thank you, Gillis, for coming in and speaking to us today, and thank you to everyone else for attending. I will be having this recording available as soon as possible on the benefits website. And again, have a great day, and thank you for coming.
Thanks, Clark. Thank you, guys.